Guys, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. I'm going to be doing an awesome tag by an awesome young man, Isaac. He's got a channel called Isaac Reviews. I'll leave it in the link below. And yeah, I love comic books. I adore comic books. I am a massive comic book nerd, so I could not pass up a tag like this. And it's the Marvel vs. DC tag. And we have 7 very awesome questions here. So, his first question is, if you could be a superhero, who would you be? I'm going to have to go with the Punisher, Frank Castle. I adore Frank Castle. I love the Punisher. Isaac, you might be a bit too young to know who the Punisher is yet, but the Punisher was a soldier who something very bad happened and he decided to fight crime. Now, whereas Captain America and Spider-Man don't like being too violent with bad guys, Frank has no problem with that, and he's no problem using his skills and his guns to stop them. But I like the prospect, or the fact, that it's just a guy who has no superpowers. He's just going out using his skills and using kind of his natural abilities to fight crime. And he's a pretty cool character. He's a very complex character. And originally he started off as a villain, but he was so well received by readers of the Marvel comics that they actually turned him into a hero. So yeah, my favourite kind of superhero I'd love to be would be the Punisher. If you were a super villain, who would you be? That's question 2. Probably Taskmaster. Taskmaster is he's a Marvel villain who kind of goes around armed with a sword and a shield, and he has a skull mask. And Taskmaster, he can kind of copy any fighting ability of anyone he's fighting. So essentially, if he's fighting Daredevil, he can take on Daredevil's traits and he can use them to beat up Daredevil. So yeah, Taskmaster's pretty cool, and he's got a pretty cool power that he can copy or imitate other superheroes or supervillains kind of fighting abilities. Question 3. If you had a superpower, what kind of superpower would you have? This might be a bit odd. I'd like to astral project my consciousness into other people. I'd basically like to take my mind out of my head and put it into other people, so I could be like the ultimate spy or the ultimate kind of assassin, taking out the bad guys and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. It'd also be interesting to see how other people are treated. You could literally walk a day in the life of someone else in their shoes. So yeah, to kind of take my consciousness or my mind out of my head and put it into another person and kind of control that person. So yeah, astral project my consciousness into someone else. That'd be my favourite superpower. Question 4. Which do you prefer, heroes or villains? I think I'm going to go with villains. And the best kind of villains, the best villain I think in comics would have to be Magneto. Why? Because he doesn't see himself as a villain. Magneto genuinely thinks he's doing the right thing, and he doesn't see that harming other people or destroying kind of civilians or kind of property or anything is bad, so long as it protects and benefits kind of mutant kind. And that's the sad kind of thing, because Magneto, his family were killed in a really horrible kind of event, and that kind of pushed him to see that like humanity can be pretty crappy. So I'm going to do my best to fight against it. So yeah, I think villains, if you get an interesting villain, they're the coolest. You get a person who doesn't see themselves as a villain. I think that can kind of be shown with Punisher as well. Frank, he does some pretty rough things, but he doesn't see himself as a bad guy. So I'm gonna go with that. Question 5. Do you prefer Marvel or DC? Definitely the movies. I'm definitely going to go with Marvel. The MCU movies are fantastically written, fantastically acted, and they're leading to something. I think the DC movies were trying to copy Marvel, but they're kind of like a kid who's late for the school bus and he's trying to pull up his pants and jump on the bus with Marvel, but he's just too late. So yeah, that's what I think. I think DC just they had the opportunity, because DC were under Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers had the rights to all the superheroes. They could have done this years back, but they didn't. They essentially allowed their properties to go stagnant, and then when they saw what Marvel were doing and how much Marvel money they were getting, they were kind of like, we want some of that, but they rushed it. They didn't build it up like the way Marvel did. For comics, I think DC writes really good, compelling comics. If I had to suggest something to yourself, I think if you were to read something, maybe like some of the Flash stories or the Green Arrow stories, they're fairly fun. They're a bit mature, I think, for someone your age. But if you get a chance, do read some of the Flash stories maybe, or do read Static Shock. I think there's a Static Shock comic out at the moment. Definitely check out Static Shock. And the other question is question 6. Who's your favorite DC hero and why? There is a character called Animal Man. He goes by the name of Buddy Benson, and if he comes in contact with any particular kind of animal, he takes on its attributes. So if he like touches an elephant, he gets the elephant's strength, or if he touches a whale or a dolphin, he can go to the bottom of the ocean. He essentially can take on the powers or abilities of any animal he kind of comes in contact with. I could probably say the same for Beast Boy, but I like Buddy Benson because Buddy Benson is a family man and he's got like kids and stuff. So as well as having to try and save the day, he also has to pick his kids up from school and make them lunch and stuff like that. So that's why I like Buddy Benson. He's a very white collar kind of hero. And question 7, who is your favourite Marvel hero and why? I'm going to have to go with Punisher again. And as I said before, he kicks arse. He's a guy who has no superpowers, but he doesn't let that stop him from kind of saving the day or dealing out justice. A lot of the other Marvel superheroes don't like him because 1, he's a lone wolf, and 2, his methods are fairly rough to say the least. But by and large, I adore Frank Castle. I adore the Punisher. I think he's a compelling and interesting character. And yeah, if when you're older, maybe give some of the Punisher comics a read. So yeah, that was Isaac's Marvel DC tag. I encourage you all to do it. He's a great lad. He's a nice lad. His mum is awesome as well. Lisa Loves. Check out her channel. I'll link that below. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.